All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music and doing it in real time for a few real people out there, just like you and just like me. So, I'm going to be talking about this new Bon Jovi song that's out, and it's kind of interesting. It's interesting in a couple of ways, and I'll get into that. But before I get into that, uh, I was getting into this during the summer months. Jeff Larson, Adobe Home, along with Jack Tempchin's album and also Jerry Beckley's album. All three of these made a nice, I don't know, trilogy, threesome. I don't know if that's appropriate, but anyway, Jeff Larson, very good songwriter, guitar player. It's just nice, okay. And I'm into nice these days. I know people want me to continue to bang my head. I'm just not doing it anymore. Not gonna do it. Sorry. Um, and so anyway, I would check out Jeff Larson, Adobe Home. I think you'll like it. If you don't, you don't. I make the recommendations, I throw them out there. I've been getting a few people saying, "Hey, I appreciate at the beginning of your videos." And I used to get people say, "Hey, could you just get to the point? If you're going to talk about Bon Jovi, just talk about him. Don't give me this new music crap. I don't." So it's, you can't win. You can't win. Anyway, Bon Jovi came out with this album called Forever, and it came out, I don't know, maybe April or May, and it went to like number one or something on Billboard. It or top five or something. It's like the highest charting uh, Bon Jovi album ever. And then the next week, it completely fell off the chart, which is unprecedented. In fact, it was the greatest collapse, I think, in the history of music when it comes to album sales. It was devastating. And a couple of things, folks. Look, they have a fan base. Bon Jovi has a fan base, maybe a fairly loyal fan base, and they all went out and downloaded it, or even maybe got one of these. They actually bought a CD. That would be interesting. But there was a first song that came out, did okay for a little while. I think it was Legendary. That was the name of the song. And now there's this other song which they released, which record labels will sometimes do, called Living Proof. They actually put it out there back in May. So this was the second single from the album, and it's now starting to appear on some of these adult contemporary charts, which in some cases, a lot of people would probably not even know that the song is being played on that radio station that is supposedly reporting that they're playing it. It's too bad. This isn't a bad song. It's not a bad song. Living Proof. Now, the song has a few positive things about it. It's got a decent melody. It's got a big enough hook. It's got optimistic, uplifting style lyrics. Okay. It's well written. It's got the old talk box sound on it, which is really cool. If you're from the Living on a Prayer era and you remember how good it worked on that, then you hear it and you go, "Oh yeah, yeah, that kind of sounds like Bon Jovi a little bit." John's voice. Okay, now again, I've talked about John's voice, and I don't want to just pound it into the ground further here about what's happened to his voice, but it's okay. It's actually okay. It's not so bad. I would say in the process of not making him the focal point of the song, which is kind of weird since he's the lead singer, I think it's mixed a little lower in than it could be. It could be maybe up higher. In fact, this song needs crunch. It needs that old Ron Nevison crunch, which it's designed specifically for people listening to an adult contemporary radio station these days, but you don't know what that means anymore, because you hear this horrible pop stuff. You hear stuff that's got, a little bit of rapping in it, and then some crazy guitars, and then that all goes away, and then it smooths out. There is some strange things that I hear when I listen to these radio stations, and I don't spend a lot of time doing that. There's a weather radar site that I go to sometimes online, and they play music. And I think it's all like the latest adult contemporary music that goes along to it. And so I'll listen for a little while and I'm like, wow. And then of course, during that whole time frame, they're playing like Everybody Have Fun Tonight. It's just they can't let go of the old songs because it's keeping their stations going, I think. I don't know. Here's the sad thing about the song. Um, it's almost like a mere shadow of the band's former self listening to this because you hear elements of what made this band great to begin with. But it's it's mixed in a way to make it, I don't know, like it's 2024, but yet it's hard to describe what they've done to this. They've just tuned everything down a little bit, made it a little bit mellower. That's why you need the Ron Nevison production, and he produced Heart in Chicago and Bad Company back in the 70s. He worked with them. Ozzy, he was on an Ozzy album. I think The Ultimate Sin was the album that he produced. And there was all of this, like you could distinctly hear the crack of the drums. You could just, it was just a better mix. And that's what this needs. It's just kind of very wishy washy, even though it's a decent melody. The vocal is okay. I think they could have done more with John's voice in the studio. That's just my humble opinion. But the song is currently on the adult contemporary charts, which is really the only place it could go. But it's just sad that this band doesn't have Richie Sambora. Okay, they really need Richie. And they're trying to be their old selves without offending like a new bunch of people. And I don't know, folks. I would say go listen to it and see what you think. It's called Living Proof. It's out there and it's got lots of views on various platforms, and it's also on the radio, which is something that a lot of these older bands don't do anymore. So give them credit for breaking through, albeit probably for like a day or two on the top 40 adult contemporary charts. I talk about this because it's just sad to see this stuff slowly fading away. And I think they should just be themselves. At the end of the day, just bring in the stronger production, make it sound like 1988 again, and you'll please the fans that are always there for you. That's what you want to do. You're not making new fans really in the midst of this, dying musical landscape. So anyway, those are just a few thoughts on Living Proof by Bon Jovi. All right, here is, again, one more time for Jeff Larson. Let's hear it for the boy or the dude. Adobe Home. It's a good album from start to finish. And this is something, again, that you want to listen to in album form. I mean, there are potential hit singles. Like I say, in the old days, I used to sit around and mark off the songs that I thought were radio friendly. Most of this stuff is radio friendly, but you won't hear it on the radio. So you got to go listen to it yourself. Anyway, folks, thanks again for supporting the channel. One more time on the situation, though, here, as the bottom has kind of fallen out from the revenue stream over the past week or so. And this is prior to the Eric Clapton interview, so I'm not sure if the interview will have any effect. I know so far that video is doing 10 times worse than the last Eric Clapton video, based on how many views that I have on it right now. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe I'm voting for the wrong person for president. You know what? I might do some political commentary just to make my own situation worse, because there's not a lot to talk about in the world of classic geezer rock. But I appreciate everybody who is here to watch that type of content. Music, politics, culture, it's all right here, folks. So if you can help the channel out, $1 a month on Patreon, buy me a coffee. I think the Starbucks latte is what I'm looking for over on Buy Me a Coffee. And then YouTube memberships, which is almost the same price as a Dunkin' Donuts small coffee. We'll say that. So coffee prices have gone up. Inflation is still pretty bad out there, despite what the media is trying to tell you. Anyway, I'm done, at least on this video. I'll be back later. There's a big debate tonight, so I'm gonna weigh in on that, and I will do that later on.